Black Hearts in Battersea by Joan Aiken, Chapter 9. The dinner that the Duke of Battersea gave Dr. Freneau's students was long remembered at the Academy of Art. As the Duke explained apologetically, the menu was put together at such short notice that the guests could only expect pot luck, just a neatish meal. There were 3 courses. The first contained oysters, lobsters, salmon, turtle soup, and some haunches of turbot. This was followed by turkeys, chickens, a side of beef, and a whole roast pig. The last course consisted of veal and ham pies, venison pasties, salads, vegetables, jellies, creams, and fruit. "Just a picnic," the Duke observed, "but as we are all such near neighbors, I hope you won't take offense that we haven't been able to do better in the time." Neither Dr. Freneau nor his students showed any tendency to take offense. The students, many of whom had never seen so much food in their lives before, ate like famished wolves. Gus, sitting by Simon and surrounded by high ramparts of oyster shells, had eaten steadily and in silence for an hour, when at last he broke off to announce with a sigh, "It's no use. I couldn't cram in another crumb. Not if you was to pay me. It does seem like a waste with all that's left. Ah, well, this dinner ought to do me for a week. Then it's back to apple peel and Mrs. Gropp's parsley. I must say, His Grace is a prime host, ain't he, fathers? Nothing behindhand about this set out, is there?" Fathers could not reply. He had eaten 19 jellies and was leaning back at his chair with a glazed expression. The Duke stood up and cleared his throat rather shyly amid shouts of, "3 cheers for His Grace! Silence for the Duke! Pray hush for old Batters!" "Gentlemen," the Duke said, "my wife and I are very happy to welcome you here tonight. You saved our lives yesterday, and we shan't forget it. There has always been a bond between my family and the Academy of Art ever since it was founded by Marius Riviere, who, as you may know, married my aunt, Lady Helen Bayswater. From now on, the bond will be even closer. I should like to make this dinner an annual event. Hooray for Battersea! Hurrah for Battersea! Good health to old Strawberry Leaves! And I am also going to endow the Academy with 5 scholarships for needy and deserving students. They will be known as the Thames Rescue Bursaries. The first 2 have already been awarded by myself and Dr. Freneau in consolation to Mr. Augustus Smollicombe and to Mr. Simon. I'm afraid I don't know your last name," the Duke ended, breaking off and looking apologetically at Simon, who was so astonished that he stammered, "Mine, your Grace? I don't know it either." "Were you never christened?" asked His Grace, much interested. "Or had your parents no surname?" "Why, you see, sir, I am an orphan," Simon explained. "I never knew my parents." "Then where—" The Duke's further question was interrupted by Jabwing, the footman, who chanced to drop a very large silver tureen full of oyster shells with a resounding crash just behind His Grace's chair. Then the students began cheering Gus and Simon so vociferously that no more could be said. The Duke, smiling, nodding to Simon and indicating that he would very much like to hear his history on a later occasion, stood up and invited his guests to come and view the restored Riviere canvas. They all trooped up the great flight of stairs from the banqueting hall to the library. Here the end wall had been curtained by a large piece of material. Was it the Duchess's tapestry turned back to front? Simon rather thought so. And when everybody had been marshalled in and Dr. Freneau shoved to a position of honor at the front, the Duchess pulled the string to unveil the picture. The material fell to the ground, and there followed a silence of astonishment. "Devil take it!" exclaimed His Grace. "What's become of the picture? Scrimshaw, Jabwing, Midwink. Where's the Riviere gone?" Nobody knew. "It was there this morning, your Grace," Jabwing said. "Well, I know that's stupid. You didn't take it out for a late clean-up, did you, my boy?" the Duke asked Simon, who shook his head. The Duchess, feeling that the spirit of the party might be sadly lowered by this mishap, cried, "Oh, no, do not regard it, William. 'Tis odds, but it has merely been mislaid, and will turn up directly, if we do but keep our heads. Let us think no more about it, but instead amuse ourselves and our guests with dancing or diversions, which I'm sure the young people would much prefer." "Let's play Hunt the Picture!" exclaimed Gus. "Capital notion!" shouted somebody else. "Huzzah for Gus! We'll find the picture, your grace, never fear!" In a trice, the high-spirited students had scattered about the library and were darting upstairs and downstairs, along galleries, through suites, in and out of closets, saloons, antechambers, armories, falconries, heronries, butleries, and pantries, all over Battersea Castle in search of the missing picture. They turned the whole place topsy-turvy in their enthusiasm, but the Riviere canvas was not forthcoming, though innumerable other pictures were whisked down from the walls and submitted for the Duke's inspection. "Is this it, your grace? Is this? Is this?" Pictures were soon piled high in the library, but the Duke shook his head to all of them. "Dear me," sighed the Duchess, "I could wish that these delightful young people were a little less volatile." At that moment, a chandelier, on which Father's had been swinging from side to side as he examined some pictures that hung rather high up, fell to the floor with a loud crash. The chandelier was shattered, but Father's was unhurt, though he looked rather green. "Dashed uneasy motion," he murmured. "Like on board ship. Shan't try that again." He picked himself up and went off to search the monument rooms. "Oh, fall to roll, my dove," said the Duke. "I don't know when I've enjoyed myself so much. Never seen the old place looking so lively. Anyway, we won't trouble our heads any longer about the picture. Of a certainty, some poor half-witted niddle-noll must have gone off with it. One of those what-do-you-call-ems with a mad craving for pictures. I'll tell the magistrates about it tomorrow, and 10 to 1 the fellow will be laid by the heels in a couple of days, if he doesn't walk in with it saying he's Henry VIII. Soon after this, Simon took his leave, expressing warm gratitude to the Duke and Duchess for their hospitality, and for the unexpected and most welcome Thames River bursary. It was nearly time for his appointment with Sophie. As he ran down the stairs, matters were still in such chaos all over the castle, with students dashing hither and thither, that no footman attempted to see him out. He thought he heard somebody trying to attract his notice. "Hey there! You! Hello! Psst!" He turned around the hallway and saw Justin waving at him from behind a suit of armor. "What is it?" Simon said. "I'm coming to the fair with you tomorrow." "Famous," said Simon. "I told his grace about it, and he doesn't mind." "That ain't to the purpose," Justin said. "I tell you, Uncle Bill's always agreeable. It's Buckle who'd put a spoke in the wheel. Sour old cheese box. But it's the luckiest thing in the world he's been away to Deptford on 2 days' urgent private business. Rich auntie dying or some such humdudgeon, and won't be back till tomorrow evening. Where shall I meet you?" "On Chelsea Bridge, an hour afternoon," Simon suggested. "Too-ralooral," Justin said conspiratorially, and disappeared back behind the suit of armor, as he expected that the very walls would soon report on his plans to Mr. Buckle. Sophie, true to her word, had finished the blue dress. "Soph, you're the kindest good girl in the world," Simon said, and gave her a hug. "I'll buy some fairings tomorrow. See if I don't. Now, shall I take you back to the castle?" "No, for Mrs. Cobbs invited me to stop the night here, thank you." As Simon had half expected, Dido was lurking in his room on tenterhooks with anticipation. "Have you got it? Have you got it?" she demanded in a whisper before he was through the door. When he lit a candle and showed her the dress, she was absolutely dumbstruck with admiration. "Oh!" she breathed. She took it reverently from him, laid it out on the bed, and stroked it as if it had been a living thing. "Oh, ain't it naffy? Shall I put it on now?" She held it against her. "Certainly not," said Simon firmly. "If you did, it's odd you'd go to bed in it and come out tomorrow looking like a piece of mousetrap. You'd best leave it here, where it won't get dropped and trampled on. I know how you treat your things." "I never would with this. Oh, wouldn't Penny be green if she could see it? I wish I could see her face." "Well, run along now, Cully," Simon said. "The sooner you go to sleep, the sooner morning will come." She started toward the door, then turned, and coming back, pulled his head down to her level. "Thank you," she whispered gruffly in his ear, then bolted from the room. But Simon, getting into bed, felt a pang of despair.